Alright, welcome back to New Zealand. So I live about 6,000 miles away from the nearest Zero dealership. In New Zealand, we're kind of all on our own. So if I needed parts for the bikes, how do I get them and where do I get them? In this episode, we're going to be unboxing.
Hey, she gave you money to order the parts, didn't she?
Mm-hmm. It's been deposited in our account. But it's stuff like bioelements, organic system parts, and some nanotech. You know, this stuff is hard to get, Gene, and it's real expensive.
Alright, indicator switch. What's next? A mirror. Super cheap, both in cost and quality. And then there's this plastic thing. This actually goes on the side of the headlight. Remember when I made my own windscreen? I had to chop this thing up and I basically took a Dremel to it to make room for the bracket. But I took the windscreen off, so I'm gonna put a new one of these on. Alright, next up is a mirror. This isn't the first one I've replaced and it's probably not gonna be the last. Yep, cracked right down the middle. So lame. And then this guy, this is the turn signal indicator switch, which I thought I needed because my turn signals weren't working, so I just ordered a whole new unit, but it turned out just to be the, what's it called? The relay. There's a relay in there that I swapped for like $5. So yeah, you don't need this whole thing. And then next in the box, which actually wasn't in the box, I'm not sure why, is the dash. I got a new dash for the SR. It was only, what, 160 bucks or something like that? So it's not actually too bad for a whole new dash. The dash on the SR got really wet and gross just because the bike sits all day out in the rain and stuff. And so the buttons don't work. It still reads the speed and stuff, but you can't adjust anything. So the clock is off and that drives me crazy. But yeah, I need to find out where the dash is because either Zero didn't pack it or they're sending it as a separate thing someday. Yeah, I'll find out. Right after shooting that, my mom sent me this. Merry Christmas, everybody. I'm guessing the dash is in the little box on top, and the other things you'll have to wait and see.
Well, the rest of the containers we ordered from Fred should be coming in tomorrow.
Well, yeah, that'd be nice, but...
But what?
To be blunt, idiot, we are broke!
No way!
So obviously I can't just walk into a motorcycle shop and get parts for the Zeros because they don't sell Zeros here. So how did I get those parts?
And we can't go through our legitimate routes, but I think I will be able to help you with the equipment. Except when are you gonna pay me?
When I make it big.
Two of my favorite options are either Hollywood Electrics, where you just email Harlan and he just tells you, okay, cool, I'll order you a part and I'll ship it to you. They ship internationally, it's great. Or AF1 Racing, which their website is so awesome because you can just look up, they have like a parts list of whatever bike you have and you can go in, you can find the part number and then type that into their search thing and then order it. And you can order motors, you can order batteries, it's crazy. I wouldn't suggest ordering a new battery from them. I definitely suggest going to Zero if you can. If you're in New Zealand, I guess that's the only way. But yeah, it's possible to order every single component for the bike through AF1 Racing, and you just type in order. You don't have to like talk to anybody really, and they just ship it to you, and they ship it internationally.
You know, we have a rule in the Lowe family to never ask the customer why. That means we sell the customer what they want, no questions asked.
The only problem living in New Zealand is that it takes weeks to get here, and then once it gets here, customs is like, hey, you bought stuff, and so we want to charge you even more. So for this, I think it ended up being like 250 bucks US, and after all was said and done with shipping and customs fees, and then clearance, and then GST, which you have to pay 15% tax once it hits New Zealand, which is just dumb, because why? It ended up being close to $400 US. From $250 to $400.
I thought that I asked you to pay all of the dock fees in advance. Just how much longer will you be here?
Luckily, I go back to the US pretty often, so I can just load up my suitcase full of bike parts. But, you know, not everybody can do that, so it's cool to have the options of either Hollywood Electrics or AF1 Racing. If you're going to go through the hassle of, you know, paying for shipping overseas and then customs and GST and all that stuff. Just get as much stuff as you can.
What are we gonna do?
Well, we're gonna load up all the equipment we can and launch as soon as possible.
It's always a good idea to stock up on consumables, like stuff that could potentially break down in the future, like an onboard charger or a belt. Like belts can snap at any moment, you never really know, so it's good to have a spare on hand. Got 2 sets of belts. Luckily the SR and the DSR share the same size. That's pretty cool. It's very helpful. Got spare sprocket, bag full of goodies, some other stuff. Got a spare charger, actually another. This is my charger that started failing, but it still works up to like 80%, all good. And then I have the stock license plate holder, and then like the side battery cover things, fairings, whatever you want to call them, just in case I want to go back to a factory look. You gotta have all kinds of charging cables just for, you know, for all occasions. And actually I need to get a new tank bag. This one, I cannot get the zipper to go back to where it was before. So annoying. So annoying. In terms of servicing though, I'm just too far away. So for my 2015 SR, which Jen is riding right now in the rain, in scary weather, there was a recall for the DC-DC converter. And so I emailed, well, Zero emailed me saying, hey, there's a recall and it seems like your bike is one of them. If you take a photo of your DC-DC converter, then we can tell you if it needs to be swapped with a new one. Because there could be, like the worry was that since it controls the 12 volt and ABS is part of the 12 volt system, then if you need the ABS braking, then all of a sudden it might not work. It might not, I guess. And so that was the concern, so they really want to swap those out. So I emailed them and they said, cool, we'll get you one, just bring your bike into a dealership. And I'm like, well, I can't because I'm in New Zealand.
I'm gonna have to put in a new engine or buy all new parts for just about everything.
If I had that kind of money, I'd take it to a dealer.
So they called me up and then I talked to a few different people and they got me in contact with Zero Asia, which I don't know if that's a thing anymore, but I talked to a dude and he said, we can ship you the part if you're cool installing it and we'll just give you instructions on how to do it. I'm like, that's awesome. And then a little while after that, they said no. They said, we don't want you working on your own bike, so we're not shipping you a part. If you can find somebody at a shop that can do this kind of thing, then and we can make sure that he's certified or whatever, then we can ship it to him and then he can do the work. Nothing really happened. I never got the part and I didn't really need it though. So like ABS and stuff still works. My DC-DC converter hasn't broken. So I'm like, whatever. In the end, if I wanted a new one, I could just order one. It's like $300. It's not really a big deal. But, you know, if it's a warranty part or if you had motor problems, I don't know, that'd be pretty tricky. Don't live in New Zealand is what basically it comes down to. But no, I'm just kidding. It's like these bikes are so simple and, you know, there's so few parts. It's like most of it's plastic. All these little bits and stuff you just unbolt and put on yourself. You buy a new headlight from like a MT-03 or something. The mirrors, I don't know what they came from, but they're crap. And so just buy a different one. I don't know why I keep buying replacement mirrors from Zero because they're just gonna break again.
I don't know. I just don't know the real reason why. I really have no idea.
But yeah, aside from the battery, the controller, and the motor, you can basically swap everything yourself. It's so easy. But like I said, if you wanted a brand new battery or a motor or something, you could just order one online, which is really cool. I don't know if you can do that with normal gas bikes. Can you just order an engine or something outside of like a service center? I don't know.
The engine covers are not regulation parts, so please replace them all.
Yeah, well, how about helping out, huh?
So I guess you can live 6,000 miles away from a dealership and still have a Zero. I don't know. I got the bikes because they're so simple and so reliable, and like I haven't really had any issues in the last 4 years. So like if I needed a new onboard charger, as expensive as they are, you could just order one and they could just ship it to you. So you're not totally stranded no matter where you are, and that feels pretty good. Anyway, I've rambled long enough. If you need parts for your bike and you live on an island in the middle of nowhere, don't worry because you can just order them online. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.
Yeah, I pulled it off. No problem.
What are you talking about? You almost got us killed!